Welcome to today's episode, where we are diving into a powerful idea inspired by Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Kiyosaki defines asset in the simplest and most practical way. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. He explains that assets are things like real estate, stocks, and businesses, anything that generates cash flow. But here is where it gets interesting. You and I can also become our own greatest assets by consistently putting money in our own pockets. In this episode, I'll show you how to evaluate yourself as an asset, using the same principles Robert applies to financial assets. Curious? Let's explore. Now imagine this. You're a walking, talking rental property. And the size of this quote-unquote house is determined by your ability to save and invest money each year. The more you save, the bigger your house, and the more it earns for you. Typical real estate returns. To give you some context, the average annual return on residential real estate in the US is about 10.6%, according to the S&P 500 index. However, that figure includes appreciation, the increase in property value over time. While appreciation can be valuable, it's not guaranteed, and you only see the benefit when you sell the asset, which could take years. That's why cash flow is more critical, as it provides immediate, consistent returns. This perspective can change the way you think about investment decisions. It's about consistent cash flow, not just overall returns. If we are focusing on cash flow, we can use a more realistic metric called cash-on-cash return. This is essentially the amount of cash flow you get from rent each year, minus operational costs, and divided by your total cash investment. A 10% cash return is often considered solid, but in expensive cities, that's not always realistic. For example, where I live, the cash return rate is around 5%. So, let's use that 5% as our benchmark in this example. Step 1. Calculating your net cash flow. Here is how it works. If you own a rental property worth $500,000 and are earning a 5% cash return, that's a $25,000 of net cash inflow each year, money directly in your pocket, after expenses like HOA fees, property taxes, interest payments, maintenances, and so on. Now, let's take this concept and flip it onto you. How does your personal ability to save stack up against the $500,000 property? Step number 2. You as an asset. The next step is to calculate how much you are able to save each year. It doesn't matter if you are making $50,000 or $10 million annually. What's crucial is how much you are actually putting away. If you are saving $25,000 a year, guess what? You are in fact creating the same cash flow as someone who owns a $500,000 rental property. In other words, you have become your own $500,000 asset. It's that simple. The key takeaway. Assets are not about the fancy cars or designer brands. They're about the net cash flow they generate. It's the money you can keep and grow that counts. So, do a quick mental check. How much are you saving each year? Are you a walking $50,000 house, a $500,000 property, or even a $2 million mansion? Whatever the number, the power is in your hands to grow your real estate number. You are your own greatest asset. And remember, be the asset you aspire to live in. If you like the episode, subscribe and leave a comment. Until next time.